The flare, state of the subreddit, flare required, dealing with negativity, and more. Okay, so let's see what this is. Flare is now required on all posts. I have been working towards a bot to do this for a while, and it's finally finished. Sorry for the delay. It's been a busy year. Okay, so every single thing has to have flare, right? Yeah, I guess so. Damn. Wow. Okay. It's kind of a lot, man. All right. Okay. All right, so let's see what the rest of this is. Please don't downvote the bot. I understand this is an aggravation to you, but I'll happily work on making it less of an aggravation. Okay, have any negativity? I won't sugarcoat this. R/WoW in general seems to be really in a bashing battle for Azeroth. The mobs have gotten a lot of complaints from people about how genuine, intensely negative things have been, and we have to agree. I'd suggest a few things for us all to do, and then I'm going to talk about what the mods are going to do. Okay. Flare your posts appropriately so that people can filter out things that they do not want to see. As I just stated above, flare is not required, but please make sure that you look at the available flares and choose which one is appropriate for your post. If it's a critique, mark it as such. If it's a straight up complaint, mark it as such. Please be introspective and self-critical as you select your flare. If you're making a complaint, see if you can change to a critique or a feedback. Complaining is a valid thing to do, but if you can take some time to make a more effective critical post or a general feedback post, that would be a good idea. I think everybody can agree on that, sure. Listen to each other and find common ground. There's a great TEDx talk about effective communication that I think is relevant here. We all have at least one thing in common, that we can probably find effective and positive ways to talk about it, even if we're really unhappy about the current state of the game. Don't call people shills or white knights. Don't call people haters or idiots. In general, stop calling people names. People don't have to be shills to enjoy the game. People don't have to be assholes to dislike the game. Okay. We're not going to remove all complaints, critiques, or negative feedback. We are not controlled by Blizzard, and we're not going to remove negative posts. To be clear, Blizzard has never asked us to do so, but you are explicitly allowed to complain here. Okay? We are going to start removing complaints that are repetitive. This isn't the place for a weekly reminder that X sucks. I understand some of you think this is an effective way to bring about change, but we don't believe that is. Well, patch 6.2 Flying might have a word to say about that, but okay. So what do you think about it so far, dude?
This is obviously... You remember how Blizzard came out with the couple days you could play BFA to see if you liked it?
Yeah.
You know how I said that was one of the ways that Blizzard could combat gamers rising up and saying something and speaking up?
Yep.
Well, guess what? Guess what? This is the same thing. These Reddit cucks, these Reddit cuck mods are out here trying to, you know, make sure nobody's being too negative, guys. No, hey, be careful. You can't complain too much. We're not going to remove it, but you can't complain too much, guys. It's the same thing. They're trying to fight back against gamers rising up and saying something, trying to fight back. They're trying to curate us, man.
Do you think Blizzard talked to them about it?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, they said that Blizzard didn't contact them, but that could just be a way of them saving face. We all know that people on Reddit lie. We know the Reddit mods lie all the time. You can't trust these guys.
I think that's true in a lot of ways. Obviously, you know, they've got their own priorities and their own goals. Okay, so I don't know about this. So, like, repetitive complaints. So, the problem is this. I think one thing that probably makes a lot of people concerned, before I read comments or anything, is the issue is that, like, who gets to determine if something is repetitive or not? I don't know. But, like, to me, I just don't really see how that would be, like, a good thing. You know what I mean? And it doesn't really make any sense to me. Like, oh, we're going to remove complaints that are repetitive? How do you define repetitive? So, like, Azerite complaints were repetitive. Does that mean that you're going to get rid of Azerite posts and people that are complaining about Azerite? Or does it mean the nature of the complaint has to be different than something else? What if somebody wants to bring up... It's like, it's so open-ended that it doesn't even make any sense to me, right? Reports, that's Reddit? Yeah, I don't know. Behavior, okay, just a second. This wouldn't be a state of the subreddit post if I didn't at least do a little bit of blathering about behavior, so let's hop to it. Don't engage in arguments just to make other people feel bad. Avoid arguments where you attack a person. Talk about their opinions, not them. Okay, I can agree with that, yeah. Attack an argument, not a person. Sure. Okay, if someone posts a cosplay or a picture of themselves, don't be a creep. Okay. Being intensely negative in mod mail is a great way to turn it.
Look at this. Look at this one right here, dude. Read this one.
Being intensely negative in mod mail is a great way to turn a 3-day ban into a permanent ban.
I'm telling you, dude. That is a direct reference to me. They're referencing me, man. I'm telling you, they're talking about me there, dude.
Finally
I called
famous.
it, didn't I? Didn't I call that? I'm telling you, man. They don't want us to speak up. They're cucks, man. Everybody's typing Omega lol W. Guess what? It's true. Everything I say on the stream is true, man.
Yeah.
They want you to be quiet. They want you to shut up.
All right, just a second. We require that people try to avoid being dicks to each other. This might seem like a tall order for an internet gaming forum, but the vast majority of you are decent folks, so it's not that hard. Even if you do run afoul of the rules, don't sweat it. Even permanent bans don't have to be forever. If you figure out what you did, apologize and be polite, and you'll probably get unbanned. Also, if you did get super angry, check the length of your ban. Most bans are very short term and will run out in 1 to 3 days, so you can always send them a message and apologize. Okay.
Fuck that shit. You do not apologize to Reddit mods ever. You do not apologize to these guys.
Okay. So let's see what people are saying. This is more information. Since I failed to effectively explain the difference between being critical and being negative, so I want to touch on what I mean by either term. There are a lot of high-quality critical posts that we should appreciate and value, and they're not notably just negativity for the sake of negativity. There are kinds of posts that talk about the problems that a poster has about Frazzroth, talks about how design choices are changing gameplay for the worse, or how how it is a disincentive to logging in. They do not want to be low effort, and often they tend to not be low effort and often incite discussion, much of which tends to have value as well. In no way do we want to cut down on posts like this. If anything, we should enable more people to find them using the flare system. Being negative, there are a lot of overly negative posts that we should try to move away from. These posts do nothing other than saying the equivalent of WoW is cat piss. Sometimes they are good for a laugh, but if you're only saying something like WoW is bad, then you're not ruling much for anyone else, and you're likely to be helping drown out thoughtful critique like you mentioned above. This isn't limited posts towards BFA. This is negativity in the form of counter jerks to critique as well, which will start to be a little bit more harsh about. Summary, we're not trying to whitewash WoW. Negativity doesn't add anything. Critique is important, and we want to enable it. So what do you think?
I just told you what I think.
Well, I mean, it's the first half. I mean, I didn't know if you had any other opinions. Like, I don't know. Like, do you think the difference between like being critical and negative is like is relevant here or what?
Of course, you want to be constructive.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be exact with your feedback, of course.
I don't know, man. Like, so do you think it's good that they're like getting rid of just like straight up negative posts, just like shit posting, basically?
No.
No. Yeah, I don't know about this either, man. Now the devs can filter out feedback more effectively. As a big supporter of negative threads. I think they're important. I'm glad people don't want to see them can filter them out. It's already aggravating whenever you want to discuss issues with the game and people spam, this subreddit is so mean. I want to look at happy screenshots. It's good to separate both groups.
All this does is create a safe space. They're basically, what's happening is, I could, you know, enlarge this and say it's society as a whole, but we're looking at a lot of safe spaces being enabled for people who only want to live in a bubble, and I don't think that's good. What do you think?
I agree. I definitely agree. I think that this is people that, you know, they want to. It's like I think that like filtering things out is like okay, but I don't think the idea of like people being negative, like the fact that like mods decide if something's negative versus criticism is, you know, potentially problematic. And I don't know really if that's what's going to happen, but I also don't really like the idea of like censorship. And I feel like what they're doing here is it's almost like the way that like Reddit quarantines subreddits, and they don't really get rid of them. They just make it to where you can't really see them that easily. And it's like soft censorship versus like deleting it, which would be more hard censorship. You know, that's what I think the difference is.
I'm just saying, like, if I can't have a safe space where people can't call me McCuck and, you know, McLeach and all this other shit, then how come other people get safe spaces where they can be away from negativity? If I don't get a safe space, nobody else should get one either. That's how I feel about it.
Like, and also, like, seeing the, like, whatever, how many thousand time posts about how bad Azerite gear is not useful for them, or for the community, or for Blizzard. More than half the posts are literal reposts of the same complaint over and over. The aspect of the game is just worded differently. So, remember whenever flying got taken out of the game in WoD? And all of these, like, brain-dead baby casuals just posted the same threads over and over and over, non-stop, for over a year, and Blizzard brought it back into the game? If enough people complain about something, it will change. So, yeah, I think this could be bad. Because flying is a very, very clear example of complaining and circle jerking working. And it actually does work a lot. It's the same with the Azerite gear. Like, in my opinion, here's what I think. Is that I think that Blizzard was going to make the change to Azerite gear anyway. But I think they brought it out earlier because so many people were mad about it. Because if you look at the system with Legendaries and Legion, they could have made that system at the beginning of the expansion. There's no reason they couldn't have been able to make it at the beginning of the expansion. Of course, they could have. But the fact that they didn't is because they thought it would be okay if they didn't. I think that they brought it out earlier, and so we're getting the thing that we were supposed to have on launch, we're getting that at 8.1 instead of on the last patch with what we got with the Legendaries. I mean, do you think that's true, or do you think this was just always in the works?
I think that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it is. Another month down, soon retained. Thank you very much, Barnes. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I mean, this is what happens. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what else to say. Have they offered you money to shut up? Like, no, they're not paying me money to, like, they're not paying other people money to say good things about the game. There is an unspoken rule that if you criticize the game a lot, you probably won't get a lot of benefits that Blizzard will give you, right? They're not going to put you on the launcher. They're not going to promote your stream. They're not going to do any of these other things. The fact is, none of that stuff matters. It doesn't matter if they put you on the launcher or not. That's not going to make you a successful broadcaster. It doesn't have anything to do with it. The things that people are trying to grovel the Blizzard about are things that don't matter. It's more important for you to appeal to your audience and be truthful and honest. That's the way that I feel about it, if you want my honest opinion. I don't think they're paying them any money or anything like that. That's ridiculous. It's legal to take money and talk good about a game without a disclaimer. I don't know what the details there are, but let's see.
They responded.
What?
The A Phoenix guy, he responded. He said, if you think that memeing made these changes, then I'd say that you are the one that is naive.
Well, here's what I would say. I did not say that memeing made the changes. I said that memeing and the amount of people that are complaining. Sergeant Sammy, thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you. And this is, there's a lot to unpack here. Okay, so let me start. Number one, that's not the assertion that I made. The assertion that I made is that they pushed these changes out faster because of how unhappy the community was with Azerite gear. This has happened before in the past, and I think it's happening again. I also think that the memeing is just a word for you to use to undervalue the criticism and the overwhelming negative feedback that Blizzard received that caused them to make the change. So that's another reason why I think that the memeing was in between constructive feedback. And whenever you're receiving overwhelmingly negative feedback about something, you're going to do something about it. And it's the same thing that happened with the Legendary system, but this time with the Azerite system, it happened a lot more often, and it was a lot stronger, and more people spoke out about it because it affected a larger percentage of the population rather than just the raiding community. So, I don't think that's right in any way. Now, do what?
Can I further prove your point?
Okay.
Memeing is real. And to instantly prove that point, who's the president and who's not?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the idea of like bringing in and talking about stuff constantly and making people upset about it constantly, it works. It worked with this, and it worked with flying. I feel like Blizzard, it was very clear to me that Blizzard had no intention at all of making Draenor with flying ever. And the reason for that is because they had to, wasn't there like some sort of a thing that they had to redesign the entire thing with flying to be possible? Like, do you remember that or not?
Yeah, like the entire world?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that area in Arathi Highlands. That area was just like a big, like pit with jagged edges until they had to rework it, and now it's like a open field or whatever.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is like, so it's very clear that in Wards of Draenor, like people did not want, or Blizzard did not want to add flying into WoD. They had no intention whenever Wards of Draenor came out to add flying into WoD. And I think that based off of the overwhelming negative feedback that they received about not having flying in WoD, they changed the direction that they were going to go in because of how much negative feedback they received. And I think this is what's happening now. I mean, does that make sense? They should add flying after the expansion is over. Well, I mean, it's not really, that's not the point. The point is that the people complaining about it very, very clearly did have an influence. What does Mcconnell do? Yeah. WoD's map was garbage for ground mounts, though. Well, what I'm saying is, like, they had to redo the entire Draenor or something, and, like, redesign it so flying would work.
Dude.
What?
They are pissed.
Who is?
These mods are pissed on the fucking Reddit, dude.
Well, what are
They're
they saying now?
Mad. Dude, you gotta read these comments. They're like, they're going full on out, like, shilling and oh my god, dude, you gotta read these comments, dude.
Okay, all right. What's the next one? What's the next one?
Well, just sort by new, and then you'll see them all.
Okay. All right, just 1 second. I'll sort by new. Okay, this is 6 hours ago, 4 minutes ago. CM's PM'd you to get the subreddit in line, I guess. I cannot state this more emphatically than this. In no way have Blizzard attempted to change the tone of the subreddit. They have not asked for us to do so. I don't believe that they would ask for us to do so. In my time here, I can only recall one time they actually made us request. And that was, I think, something... Yeah. They do not make demands. They do not have any form of control here. If you not think they would make any changes on negativity of subreddit, you're just naive. I think maybe about changes. You're wrong. It's naive. Negative feedback is what brought these changes about. Was that the one that you were reading to me before?
Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think Blizzard contacted them?
No. I don't think so. Okay. I legitimately don't think so. No, I don't think that they contacted them. Blizzard's never contacted me, and I'm like super negative, right, about a lot of things. So I think that if they're not contacting me, then they're probably not going to try to contact any of these other people either. I wouldn't expect that at all. People are doing it for free. Yeah, well, no, I mean, like, so I can argue a couple of things in their favor. Okay, number one is that if the subreddit is overwhelmingly negative, I do think that that can contribute to a lot of circle jerk type things. And I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. So I'm not completely disagreeing. I'm just saying that, like, I don't think this will be an overall positive for the game. I think that's really what it comes down to for me, is that I don't think this will make the game better. Will this make the subreddit better? I don't know. I think that, like, adding more... So, like, this is the thing, right? Adding a barrier to, like, another barrier to, like, you know, putting the tag on it and all. I don't know. I feel like that would maybe, like, make less people, like, wanting to, like, give feedback or, like, communicate or, like, talk on the forum. So it's like, for example, like, there's been a couple of times where, like, I've been on a website and they've made me solve a CAPTCHA in order to post on it, and I just didn't post on it at all because I didn't want to deal with the CAPTCHA. Like, you're not going to control my life. I don't want to click and find where all the stop signs are on this picture. Fuck you. And then I just don't do it. And it's the same thing with a lot of people. No, I'm serious. Am I wrong? No. Okay, just a second. I understand. Appreciate your point here. Things are really problematic that we as moderators have to deal about. We can remove content, we can ban users, we can see content. Let me give you an example. Blast Online is an objectively bad game. Just on 4 people think the game's good because it's objectively bad. Battle for Azeroth is also bad. Doesn't really matter if 600 people think that it's good. Stop stating your opinion as fact. Stop calling people who like things fanboys. Stop comparing the game to manure. There are effective ways to do things. You're trying to say this. Try to say it like this. Very poor perception. Personally, there are so many systems that I dislike. It's difficult for me to rate to someone who likes the game right now. When you say things that are completely subjective, like they're facts, you're actually being less effective at letting Blizzard know what's wrong. Well, yeah, but they do the same thing. Like, that's the issue, is that, like, whenever I see, like, these, like, you know, quote, positive BFA streams and posts and stuff like that, they're just saying the game is fine, right? And anybody who's complaining is just rabble-rousing, and they're complaining for the sake of complaining, right? I mean, they do the exact same stuff. It's the exact type of thing where you're doing the... you're basically invalidating what somebody is saying because you just disagree with them. You're just like completely discounting what they think. And I think it happens on both sides. So I'll believe this whenever it happens on both sides. It's called Bless Online. What do you expect? Yeah. Okay, let me see if I can find the rest of these.
But it doesn't really work both ways, does it? Because if you are pretending to be positive about the game, that can come with benefits. Blizzard will like you. You will get the brownie points. You could get invited to events. You could get passes. You could get promoted, etc. But you don't gain anything for being negative. Right? Like, you don't get, like... You see what I'm saying?
No, I do. And also, like... So this happened back at the beginning of WoD on the subreddit, is every single picture on the front page of the subreddit was somebody drawing a dick with the, Do you guys remember the entry WoD, like, quest line where you had to bring the gunpowder to, like, a bomb? And every single picture... Yeah, the keg... And you could draw anything that you want, and all people would do is draw dicks, and every single one of them was voted up to the top. It didn't even matter, and they had to make a rule because there were so many gunpowder dicks on the subreddit. I mean, they were going to have to mark it as not safe for work. It was insane. So, I mean, this isn't the first time, and that one I think did kind of make sense. But what I'm saying is that I always find that it's very dangerous whenever you try to do something that subverts the natural, organic will of the community, right? And this is the community that they've built on the subreddit. These people are on the subreddit. They were trying to create this community. And the fact that you're creating something to subvert that and kind of channel that in a different direction, anytime that you do that, it always makes me nervous and worried. That's what I'm trying to say. That and posting pictures in trade of the Smork saying that we'll never be slaves. Yeah, it's true. Like, what are the top posts right now? I mean, I guess some of these are clever. This girl has... Okay, this is... Man, why does everybody have Frostmourne besides me? This is so dumb, man. Like, I need to get a P.O. box. This is fucking bullshit. I hate this game. A very good way of visually seeing the tiers of tanks in Mythic Plus right now. Yeah, so 1,200, 250, and warriors, only 70 warriors that are tanks. Jesus Christ, that's so bad. It's $100, get it? Maybe I should, man. Where do you draw the line in terms of control, though? Well, I think it's a... Like, so... The other issue is that you can have a small group of people who are extremely vocal and also very dedicated that use their vocal and dedicated, like, zealot-like influence in order to create an illusion that they're the majority because of how loud they are. And this could also be another instance. So that's an argument against what I'm saying. And I think that it really depends on the situation and knowing what to do in each different situation. Right? I don't know. It's hard for me to say. 650k views on your video about BFA. Well, yeah, there's a lot of people that agree with me. It's very clear. Where do you think the line is for censorship, Mcconnell?
Shit, I didn't know we were getting this deep today, dude. I would say, no, you can't promote violence. I would say,
okay.
No, like, you can't, like, promote, like, physical action against people that would hurt them.
Yeah. It's agreeable.
Also, no, like, I don't know. I don't know, dude.
You don't know?
Yeah, just no violence.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty good way to start. I think, like, doxing, violence, you know, that kind of stuff is obviously bad.
Doxing,
yeah. I don't know, man. Like, it seems...
And you can't call anybody macaque, too.
That's true, yeah. That's definitely... I'm not a fan of the decision, really don't get this. Everyone should be happy if you're not happy. Tally posting, like, I agree calling people out actually having fun in BFA is wrong. Good job, mods, for noticing the issues. I mean, like...
Really? What did he say? Agree calling...
calling people out actually having fun. What I call people out on, right, is that, like, let's say somebody... If somebody's saying how great BFA is, and I go and I click on their armory page, and they've never done any raids, and they're still in all green gear, and they just hit level 120 a day ago, their opinion is objectively less valid, right? Because they don't understand as much about the game. And I feel like this is another thing that happens, is that you have people that have like a very limited understanding of the way the game works, and they're trying to tell everybody else that they're wrong. And I fucking hate that. Just a second. Let me read the rest of these. Look at Classic. 200,000 people complained whenever they shut down Nostalrius.
Actually, I was thinking about this today.
Okay.
A lot of people in chat, and I know S-Fan and Stay Safe and Tips are going to get mad, but the real person, the real driving force behind getting Classic started was actually Soda Poppin'. And
You think so?
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
The reason I would say Soda Poppin' is because he wanted to stream Classic really bad. Like, he tried really hard to play like Legion, and he couldn't do it. And he would go on stream every day, talk about Classic this, here's how Classic was, he'd watch Classic videos, etc., etc. And then he just gave up. But at that point, it was too late to stop. The Classic ball had started rolling. Things were getting done. Mark Kern was contacted.
Yes.
They were signing petitions. There was all these signatures of these streamers doing this. And then, what happened? We get Classic. So Soda Poppin' is really the driving force that made Classic happen.
Well, I think he
Nobody
did a
else.
lot. He absolutely did. I don't know about, I don't think any one person was the driving force. Like, if you want my honest opinion, I think that there were so many people. Because, like, if let's say he had put out the petition and nobody cared, then, I mean, it didn't really matter, right? And I think that the fact that the petition was so popular, the fact that Nostalrius was so popular, you know, all these videos that he put out, that JonTron put out, the Mark Kern video, like, these videos, like, combined, like, I put out a video, like, all of these videos had, like, tens of millions of views, if you can add all of them together. And I think that absolutely, yeah, what you're saying is right. I believe you. The fans did it? Yeah, exactly. I think it was Nostalrius boilover. Well, I think Nostalrius was the catalyst for it. Absolutely. Kungan also played a huge role. I don't really know how much Kungan did play. I'm not sure about that.